Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a post-match pint in association with Purity. I think the code to get 10% off is hashtag Villa View, but it's been a while, so forgive me if that is wrong. Dan Bardell here in a vest, looking pretty horrible to be honest, but it is very, very hot. Joined by Chris Dolan in his new house as well. I'm in my new studio. It's all going off, and Villa have romped to a pre-season victory against Walsall. Dolan.
Yeah, really good. I think the talk of the group was my Wi-Fi connection. So hopefully
Oh yeah,
there's
forgot to
no
announce
more.
that.
Hopefully there's no
Jeez.
more cutting in and cutting out. But no, really good, mate. I mean, really good. So I think the talking point of that game is going to be the Buendia Grealish link up. Yeah, you should have been ejected from the WhatsApp group with that
Oh, Brent, it
Buendia-licious
was
comment.
Brendan-licious through balls.
That's that better not catch on. But no,
I don't think there's any danger of that catching on at all, Dolan.
Well, I think for me, it was the second half performance because we all know Watkins is a class act. I'm actually really excited. I think he's going to be serious. I honestly think he can be Golden Boot in a few years. He will be the next Jimmy Vardy. Honestly, I think he is going to be something else. He just looks lean and mean and composed, and he just honestly he's a proper footballer and worth every bit of the 30 million. Was it how much did we pay? 20 million?
28 rolls
Absolutely,
into 32, I
absolute
think.
absolute bargain. So yeah, I thought one day was really composed. I thought Chuck Mwemba, Chuck Mwemba,
Chuck with Mecca.
Chuck Mwemeka. I thought he was a little bit, he could have he had a few chances. I thought he was probably too unselfish on a few occasions, but overall, yeah, just really comfortable and just great to see the guys back playing again. I think as I said before, what pleased me most was we're seeing people like thought Bogart was very good. I thought is it
But
Bedence?
dice.
He looks a
But
real
dice.
player. He looks a real player. I thought Aaron Ramsey was very, very impressive. I thought Jacob Ramsey was impressive in the first half. McGinn looked good. He was really, he was just up and down the pitch. He's obviously had a really busy summer. And Nakamba I thought was really like. And the thing, what pleased me most was like, they put a shift in as well tonight.
But you have to in
Well,
pre-season because
yeah,
that's what it's about. It's not about anything
yeah.
else. It's about getting fit, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. But I thought they were out there impressed, and I thought they all put a shift in. And yeah, I think we're looking good. We're looking good. So really excited. I think it's a lovely atmosphere around the club at the minute. Amazing, obviously for Wes Edens last night with the Bucks. I thought that was again it's an amazing story. Um,
Yeah, very good.
I was reading up about him and his purchase of the box, and he's quadrupled the value of the franchise in what 3 or 4 5 years. He bought it for 500 million, and it's worth 1.6 billion. So this guy's serious, and the more I read about our owners, and just the more impressed I am, and the more just excited I am really about the future. And yeah, overall, it's just great to see the the lads back out in claret and blue. And I thought the kit looked smart as well tonight.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought,
it's better in the flesh. I've got it behind me here. I wasn't that taken by it when I first saw it, but actually, in the flesh, it's a tidy bit of kit. Let's then talk about that Watkins and Buendia link up because I think in the first half that was probably the most impressive thing about it. I was thinking when I was watching Buendia, he's a bit of a funny player in the fact that he plays on the right hand side, but he's not really an out and out winger. He's not massively gifted with pace. Usually, you'd have him playing on the other side. You'd think because he's right footed, but actually, he's equally as adept on his left foot, one through ball with his left foot, one through ball
mm,
with his right foot. And it was nice to see Watkins because he makes a lot of those runs and perhaps
yeah,
doesn't always get found by people other than Jack. But it was nice to see those balls come through and Watkins make those runs and them end up in the back of the net.
definitely, man. I mean, I think, but looking at Buendia, he almost had a free role tonight. So he's playing as a number 10. He's playing out in the left, and he was playing out in the right. He was dropping deep, almost like a kind of a Paul Scholes esque. I thought he was outstanding tonight. Watkins again, just really classy, really classy finish for the second goal. Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to Bran Little. I thought his
One legend.
analysis. Yeah, I thought obviously a friend of the channel. I thought his analysis was just really really interesting. When the game sort of died down, I was just sort of listening to him for the last 15, 20 minutes, and I think yeah, just some really, really good performances. I thought Ashley Young, just you could hear him on the pitch tonight. I think he's going to be so vital. You forget he's 36, but just the experience he has, and I think he's going to be really, really pivotal for the young lads. Just because obviously we were the youngest squad, I believe, last season in the Premier League, and adding that sort of the experience of Ashley Young, again, as Brian Little says, even not just on the pitch but off the pitch, and in training sessions, he's going to be absolutely massive for us. And I think he just adds a real good sort of blend of experience, and still he can still play. Like, he still looks really fit, really lean, and it was quite emotional seeing him. There was a point on the first half when he sort of cut inside, and it was like, brought me back to 2009. All of a sudden, and it was pretty great to see Ashley Young back in a claret and blue shirt.
Did you ever think a decade on? Do you ever think, oh, he'll be coming back one day to play fullback? I know he's been playing fullback for a number of years now, but I never for the life of me thought when he was ripping it up down the wing for Villa, down that left-hand side, that he would be playing right back, left back. It's crazy, really, isn't it? And he's still very, very fit for 36.
Yeah, he looks impressive. He puts most of us to shame. But I think, when he was at his peak,
not me.
With us, well, me for sure. But with us, he was developing into a real, top player. I think obviously he was at his peak when he was winning those titles under Ferguson. But looking at him then, you sort of, he's bigger than Villa. He's kind of moved on to bigger clubs, and obviously had that stint at United, then went on the Inter Milan and won the league there. And he's kind of come back, and it's almost like he's never left. And for me, he's the kind of player you have. You keep him as a coach. I can see him being a really good coach. He's really vocal. He didn't strike me as the kind of player when he played for us. Obviously, he was still very young, but he didn't strike me as being the kind of player that would maybe go into coaching. But I can see him now. Certainly, if the likes of John Terry sort of moves on and gets a job as number one, you'd certainly be bringing people like Ashley Young, into the coaching setup, because I think he's got so much to offer, and he clearly loves it at Villa, and it's just great to see him back.
Yeah, I spoke to Mine Larson a few weeks ago, and it was about England and the England-Denmark game at the time, but we spoke a little bit about Villa at the end, and he was saying it's funny seeing Ashley Young come back, because when Larson was there, he was the experienced pro, and Young was the one messing around in the dressing room, the practical joker, and he says it's funny to see him come back, and because he's the senior figure by a long distance as well. I think the next oldest player is probably Connor, and he'll probably be on his way. So, there's a big drop from 36-year-old to, I think, 28 Emi Martinez, 28 Tyrone Mings, He's going to be a key part in that dressing room for the next couple of years, really.
Totally. Is he on a 1-year contract or a 2-year contract?
I think it's one with the option of a second. I think.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can really see this. This is definitely a long-term sort of project for Young. I can certainly see him staying on as a coach. And you look back at some of the players of the last 10 years, and we've had so many leaders. The likes of Larson, Melberg, Chester, Jedinak, Young. There's been so many, real James Milner as well. There's been Gareth Barry, Petrov. I mean, so many sort of really phenomenal leaders that you would have back in a heartbeat, just to be in and around the squad and in and around the club. And I think as a club we sort of recognise that now. And obviously Jedinak's involved. I believe in the is he involved in the loan market, or is he involved
in manager? So he's managing the players that go out on loan, communicating with them, making sure they're okay.
It's great, even the likes of El Mohammadi as well. Like, I would imagine him being a really, really great character, a really great leader around the club and around the dressing room. So there's a lot to like about this Ashley Young signing. A lot to like. I think he looks really fit, really lean, and he'll certainly not be here this season to sort of make up the numbers. He'll be involved, without a doubt. And if you're Matt Target, wow, I mean, you just be a sponge, you just be a sponge, and you soak up as much as you possibly can, because what a great mentor to have in Ashley Young.
I think there'll be a few players wanting to learn off him, because he's had a wonderful career at Villa, and since he left Villa as well, he's done a lot, played a lot of high profile games, played in World Cups, played in Champions League, so he's someone for everyone to learn off. I mean, I like I said, I never judge too much on performances, but I thought it was quite nice seeing Jacob Ramsey a little bit deeper tonight, playing in a 2 in a camber with Chukwuemeka as the 10. I actually think that's his best position, and I think that's where I see him long term. Yeah,
I mean, he was very industrial tonight. Honestly, see if we went into the season against Watford with that midfield free, I wouldn't I wouldn't particularly be concerned. I think there's
I'd like
quality
to
there.
see McGinn and Grealish in there.
No, of course, of course you would, but you know, for argument's sake, I think as a midfield three, I think they were super solid. I think Ramsey. I've always said that it takes a special kind of player to sort of break into the first team without going out on loan, and he seems to be one of the very few.
He had a bit of brief loan.
Oh yeah,
COVID killed
yeah.
it for
Well,
him.
he had about a couple of games, but I think on
Yeah.
the whole, that there's very special players that manage to sort of break in from the sort of youth setup straight into the first team, and he's certainly sort of gone that way, and yeah, I thought when he came on last season, he obviously started a few games, and then he had minutes off the bench, and he never put a foot wrong, never let us down. Very cool, very composed, very, very good footballer. And again, you look at him and you just think, wow, another sort of super talent coming out of the youth setup. And we've seen all summer, we've just been buying, young talents across the country, and it's just so refreshing to see a club with a plan, a club with a plan, and a club with a structure, and a club with a purpose. And yeah, we're certainly in the right direction. But yeah, I agree. I thought Jacob Ramsey was sensational, playing that little bit deeper. I think with McGinn, he can play further forward. He can sit back. You know what you're going to get with Nakamba. He's no nonsense. Breaks up the play and sort of lays it off. So no, yeah, I thought all three were very impressive tonight.
I noticed you're struggling a little bit with your non-purity beer there, making you choke a
Sorry.
little. It's all right.
Yeah.
Good time to say that purity beer does not make you suffer like Dolan is suffering there. So if you do want to use our code, go for #VillaView and you'll get 10% off all Purity's goodies. Let's move on to the second half then, Dolan, as you once again disrespectfully swig that beer. Jacob Ramsey's brother came on and was very lively, wasn't he? Aaron Ramsey. He's shown what he can do in the youth games that I've seen. And again, doesn't really look out of place mixing it with the first team. He seems to me a bit more confident than Jacob, a bit more sure of himself in the way he plays the game.
He plays further forward, no? He plays more as a number 10, doesn't he?
He plays more as a 10. I think he was playing more from the left and all, wasn't he? Lovely goal, great finish, really smart finish at the near post. Yeah. But again, I mean, a lot of these players will be going out on loan, it's worth saying. I don't think many of them will be sticking around in the first team. I think Jacob Ramsey, he's obviously classed as a first teamer now. Yeah. I don't think there's any plans for Chukwuemeka to go on loan. No. Louis Barry might go on loan. Everyone else, they'll probably be looking to loan them for this season, especially as their profile is probably quite high now after both Liverpool games. If you think of the FA Cup game and the actual Youth Cup final as well, a lot of those players carry a bigger profile than they perhaps would have done. So they're going to be teams in the EFL that want to sign up those players. But it's good to see them in the first team environment. And as I say, I like Aaron Ramsey's confidence. I like the way he plays the game.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I don't know much about him. I didn't really have a chance to watch most of the under 23s last season. I sort of saw bits of them and glimpses of them. Obviously, we know about Louis Barry. I particularly like Brad Young. I think he looks a real player. I believe he's from my part of the world. Is he from Northern Ireland? Is he from Belfast? I believe.
Couldn't tell you exactly where he's from.
So. But yeah, I mean, just the one thing tonight. Again, I'd like to have seen Louis Barry come on for a little cameo. I mean, speaking to certain people, certain journalists and people close to the club, they still think he's got a little bit longer to go in terms of his development. So either he goes on loan now, and then we see him in the next season, or he kind of does what Jacob Ramsey does, and he comes into the first team, because I still think, I've been banging on about it for the last 12 to 15 months. We still need another striker who can score. Score a goal.
You are not going to get one, Chris.
I'm not
do not think you're going to get one.
Like starting some sort of like I don't know, some sort of.
The more you ask, the less likely it's to happen. You've been asking for 3 years. It's not happening.
Still is not. But I just think with Davis looking likely to go out on loan.
I don't say that at all. Davis going on loan.
Well, everyone seems to think it's done.
I can't see why we do that when we've only got 3
This is the thing. This is what kind of baffled me as well. Like, everyone was kind of very certain that he'd go on loan, and then
don't see it.
You look at the options, and what if Watkins gets injured? I think Wesley, for all of his passion and his mental strength, and he's come back from a horrific injury. But even before the injury, I was never particularly impressed. I was impressed with his attitude and his his sort of application, but I just never really felt before the injury that he had the quality, and seeing tonight, he literally didn't do anything tonight. And
but it's all fitness, though. The second half in particular was a bit more bitty than the first half. I'm not saying he got an assist, to be fair, but I'm not saying he particularly did anything. But
got an assist from an awful first touch. But listen, it is what it is. I just think there was that time, there was that moment when, and again, Brian Little sort of called it out. There was that great ball from Gilbert, and there was not a single, there was essentially nobody there, and you sort of think, you should be busting the gut to get on the end of that. Why are you playing so deep against?
He likes to drop. He does like to drop deep.
Drop deep, yeah. I just don't think Davis and Wesley's ever going to work as a combination, because they're obviously too similar, but.
That would never play together.
That's why I would like to have seen Barry come on and try to link up with with Wesley. I think that could be quite a potent combination. But listen, tonight was great. It was all about fitness. Great to see the players back playing competitive football. The Villa fans were incredible. Incredible throughout. And great to see fans back on the ground, and it was great.
That's
to see.
The main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good to see the fans in there. You could see Watkins talking to the ref at the start, saying how loud the Villa fans were. Like, it's brilliant. The fans are back.
Yeah, I just hope things can stay that way, and we can all be at Watford and on the first day, the first day of the season in a few weeks, and we can get back to some kind of normality. But overall, really chuffed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to dissect the game too much, because I don't think there's too much to read into it. Let's talk about transfers a little bit. Obviously, Leon Bailey has been heavily linked with Villa today. I think there is interest. I'm not sure how far it's developed or how far negotiations are or things like that, but it's been a statement signing. Leon Bailey, he's been a good player at Leverkusen. He had a difficult year the year before last, but last season was back to his best. 23, been linked with some incredible clubs over the last few years. Feels like he's been around a while, but he is still only 23. £30 million, because I think his contract's up in 2023. Villa want to make a big signing, don't they? And at some point, Villa making a big signing can only be a good thing for the club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about him. So if you want to,
good player, a good player.
If you want to carry on and explain to the viewers what kind of player he is, I mean, I obviously had a little dabble on YouTube, and he sort of fits the mold. He's 23. He's very, very quick. He can play across. The kind of front three, sort of left, right, and as a number 10. He looks, he looks the kind of like the kind of player that we need. Yeah,
pace,
lots of pace.
That's what we don't have. Well, obviously we've got Watkins, but a pacey wing option I think would be beneficial for the club.
Yeah, I've always said, like, pace wins hands down. If your first touch is a little bit off or your finishing's off, if you're super quick like Gabby, Gabby's first touch was never on point, but his pace just frightened defenders week in, week out. So for me, a bit of pace in that front line, but it's interesting. I still don't really know the plans for the club. I mean, we obviously have a few mates that work in the media, and obviously you're in the media, and we hear certain things sort of they get brought to our attention, and I think the more I speak to people and the more I speak to journalists, the more they say the club just keep things so tight to their chest. And even they're struggling to get leads and get stories and get any insight. So I'm sitting here now, and for me, I still think we need another sort of forward player like Bailey, but I still think we need to strengthen up the centre of the park, and I still think we need another right back and another central defender as well, just to make up the numbers. So, but I mean,
I don't think you'll get many of them.
No,
I don't think we'll be busy by the sounds of it. No, I'm hearing it's going to be one or two players come in. Hopefully, Jack stays. A lot of it is obviously dependent on what happens with Jack Grealish. Obviously, we're all hoping he's going to sign a new contract, but he's away on his holidays at the moment, so I imagine his agent.
And then a third choice keeper, I believe, as well.
I don't even count that as a signing, to be honest. I don't class that in the one or two. Let's put it that way. I think what I think they're doing is, and this is based on not much at all, I think they want multifunctional players like Ashley Young. Ashley Young will cover right back and left back. We don't know at this point whether Gilbert will be sticking around, but that's sensible. Having someone that can cover both positions, it keeps the squad size down a little bit, keeps people happy, keeps people involved. I think they might do the same with fourth choice centre back / defensive midfield. I think if they can get someone in that can play both those positions, not going to be Ben White because obviously he's going to Arsenal, but someone who can do that kind of thing, I wouldn't rule out Twanzebe.
I would love to see him back. I would love to see him back on a permanent. I think he's different class. I'd still love to see Tammy come back. But then again, he's too high profile. I mean, we're not going to spend the money on someone like Tammy and then drop Watkins or play Watkins out wide, because for me,
It's just the
Watkins has
thing,
been
because you're
brought in.
saying about the money, but Wesley cost 20-25 million.
I know.
The club are going to have some kind of faith in him as the next option after Watkins. They're not going to just chuck that money away. They're going to have to try and integrate him and get him firing, or get him as part of the squad. They won't just write that off.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And then, we look at like a CDM. I thought, there was talk of Anguissa from Fulham. There's been a few others linked as well. But I think Chukwuemeka, if he can stay fit and stay focused, I think there's no reason why you wouldn't bring him into the first team and have him in there.
Sanson as well.
And Sanson, of course, yeah. He's almost like the forgotten man, So yeah, no, I mean, actually, you're right. I mean, if we get in Twanzebe, another winger, and then
I think that'll be it. That'll be a lot.
Yeah,
honestly, do not see there being more than one or two at all coming in. They've already brought Brenda in. They've already got Young in. We're not going to be a team, and I know people don't want to hear this. We're not going to be a team that brings in 6-7 players every summer. It's just not going to happen. Well, that's not the way to do things.
We did, but we obviously did that when we first came up, and it was always going to be a difficult season.
We had
to. Yeah, we had to, and I think to drop maybe 120 million each season on 2 or 3 quality players is because I still felt last season we were a little bit short in terms of squad depth. I think this season bringing in Young and Buendia obviously heightens the depth, and we've still got hopefully Jack to come back and Mings to come back, Douglas Luiz as well, he's there. So I suppose if you list off a few of those players, Luiz, Sansong, Nakamba, Chukwuemeka, does Hurahan stay? We probably have more than enough, actually, thinking about it in that department. McGinn as well, he's sort of been playing a lot deeper. So I think, obviously we let Engels go. So do we bring in a replacement for Engels? Do we bring in at Twanzebe? I think House was superb last season, and his contract's up, I think, next season with maybe an option for another year.
He'll get extended.
I think so. I think he was superb when he came in last season, especially against Palace and Chelsea. He was brilliant around that sort of Christmas period. But yeah, I mean, actually, it's interesting when you actually rhyme off the squad. We do have quite a bit of depth there, but for me, I'll always say it, I still think we need another understudy to Ollie Watkins that can score goals, because Davis just let it go. And I can't let it go, man, because
you've got to. It's not going to happen.
Well, something needs to happen, I'd have still snapped up Josh King on a free, honestly.
They won't, but you know what? They won't do that, because that's the complete opposite of what they're trying to do. Exactly. What they want is, they will only buy players that significantly improve the quality of the first team. They're not going to buy filler players to sit on the bench. You've also got to remember is that they want to integrate youth over the next few years.
No,
if
definitely.
you're buying filler players, remember when Lambert just went out and we bought all these filler players?
Yeah.
Horrendous. We didn't need to do it, because we may as well have had the academy players, the players that will win the next gen trophy at the time, taking up those squad places. So Villa will not do that. I'm telling you now.
And if you look
not
back,
buy filler players.
No, you're spot on. I mean, if you look back, I think a lot of fans would look at people like Barry Bannon. You'd have certainly had him around for another 4 or 5 years. Albrighton. There's players there that Daniel Johnson I always thought was a real talent. So there's always players there that Callum Robinson again. Like there's players there that we let go, as you quite rightly say, that should
Barry plays.
Who?
Jordan Barry was playing to Callum Robinson. You might as well have just played Callum Robinson, and there was nothing. What was the point?
Exactly, King Jordan. But no, I think you're spot on. I think when you dissect it and when you break it down, I'd rather have, you look at Everton, Begovic, Townsend, and then possibly Demarai Gray and
cheap Demarai Gray. Good to I think that's a decent sign.
I like Demarai Gray.
2 million.
Especially for €2 million, but Townsend and Begovic, I mean, you're really going to,
I mean, Begovic is the same as what we're going to do with the goalkeeper. We're going to buy a free transfer third choice goalkeeper, and you'll forget he ever played for Villa in a few years. Because people are saying replace Engels and Heaton. Them two played 0 minutes last season.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you do need 4 centre backs, but I'm genuinely thinking someone like Axel, I think they'd bring him in, perhaps play him as a defensive midfielder, and then have him as
honestly,
centre back.
he would be
He could play DM.
very, very top of my list. I think he's
they're
a
going to do
quality.
something like that.
But there's been no talk because he signed a new deal with United last season? He signed a new 5-year deal.
Nowhere near it though. And if they're getting Varane as well, he hasn't had a great time the last couple of years since he left Villa. He's probably not played as much as he thought he would do. I don't think he'd have been expecting to play every week. And I know he has issues with injuries as well, but I think he's probably been nowhere near the amount of games he would.
Would we get him on loan? Do you think, or would we?
Villa would want him probably. I know Dean Smith loves Twanzebe as well, so he'd be one that wouldn't surprise me. And obviously, they seem to want a forward player in the mould of someone like Leon Bailey. The funny one's Ward Prowse, because there was interest there, and obviously that hasn't happened. So I don't know what.
I still think we could. He's their Jack Grealish. I don't think we could probably afford what they wanted.
It's going to be too difficult to negotiate.
Yeah, I think. Listen, man, I think we're putting out the feelers for people like Smith Rowe and Ward Prowse, like real quality English talent. And if we can have a strong season this season, and those players can see the potential in the squad and in the club, and there's no reason why next season again we can't just go that bit better. And you see year on year the quality of players that we're bringing in are just getting better and better and better. And
exactly.
Listen, man, again I said it about Jack Grealish. Would I swap Martinez for any goalkeeper in the world right now? Probably not. No. I think he's just like. We've bought a lot of keepers. I often have a bit of a joke of cuts and stuff, and it's like, who's he going to buy this week? But I think he's got that one spot on, pound for pound, the best signing, one of the best signings in Premier League history. He's that good. He is unbelievable.
I mean, we won't dwell on goalkeepers too much because me and you haven't got the best track record with goalkeepers.
No, we haven't.
But when we were told about Emi Martinez, we were both like,
"There's no chance.
way. No way that's going to happen. They won't sell him. Absolutely not." And we've had Arsenal's pants down.
Yeah, and then they're going for the myth that is Aaron Ramsdale. He's been relegated twice back to back, and he's going to go for 30 million quid.
That is strange, selling Martinez for that money and then bringing in Ramsdale for 30. That makes zero sense. I saw someone saying, I think he's like a FIFA e-gamer or something, saying earlier only Arsenal could do something like that. And the Smith Rowe stuff was just to let Arsenal know that we're there, that we couldn't.
I think so. Because we were obsessed with Arsenal. Whenever we had what was the Tom Fox? He was obviously obsessed with Arsenal, and we wanted to be Arsenal, and we had this obsession with him over that period.
I don't want to be him now.
Well, exactly, and I think now we're starting to really, really, really worry them, and we're becoming a real force. Because whenever we were a force, maybe under O'Neill, Arsenal were still streets ahead of us. They were still streets ahead of us. They were top four.
Should have finished ahead of them that one year.
Well, of course, but we really are, like we really are on a real sort of real high trajectory, and it's just so exciting to be an Aston Villa fan at the minute. It really is, and if we can keep Jack, I mean that's just the icing on the cake. I'm a lot more confident than you are. I think I'm more.
Don't try and sell me out. I didn't say that. I said it was 50. I said it was 50-50.
But I'm 80-20 on him staying. I really just can't see, and the more I watch, the more I listen to is it Janice from the Bucks?
Giannis. They said Janice. I was like, talking about his cleaner for some reason. What's he going on about?
Friends, no, Janice. I just think the stars are almost aligned. You've got a club like us. You've got a franchise like the Bucks, and you've got obviously owned by the same person. You've got a player in Grealish who is world class and who's being told by every media outlet to move and better himself. And then he was the same. Giannis was the same, and it was a great interview with him after the game there, saying he could go to.
That's really impressive. It's really impressive.
It's so really impressive. It's so impressive. Like so impressive. It's my city. I could go to any big NBA team. I want to take a walk into anywhere, could win trophies easy. But we've done it the hard way. We've done it the right way, and now he's sitting there, and he's one of the most sort of lauded sportsmen on the planet. Mm-hmm. And there's no doubt that Edens would have had to have some real tough conversations with him and his representatives. And if you can keep someone like that at the Bucks, there's no reason why we can't keep someone like Grealish. He's got much more of an affiliation with us. He's a Villa fan, etc., etc. Everyone knows, but no, I'm super confident, and I just think last night Bucks winning I don't know. It just sort of seems like everything's kind of fallen into place, and yeah, I can't wait for next season. And I say I'm kind of 80-20 that we'll see Jack
It's a bold
you know,
statement.
gracefully glide out with those wonderful locks at Watford in a few weeks.
We were 99-1 that Jack Butland was coming to Villa, and we got that wrong. So let's not go in with it with 80-20s and things like that.
This is different. This is
different. What will be. I think there's a good chance he'll stay. There's a good chance he leaves. Hopefully, he'll sign the contract that's on the table, waiting for him when he comes back off holiday. I do actually think the longer it goes on, I think if he starts day one with Villa, I don't think we sell him. I think he'll be staying. But Man City are quite quiet, considering they need a striker as well. I mean, the transfer window's quiet in general. We're actually one of the few teams that's done fairly big business in Buendia. You know, no one's really done anything too massive. There's not much money floating around. We're in quite a fortunate position with our owners.
United obviously with Sancho, the United.
I don't think that's actually gone through yet, but yeah, that will go through.
Happening. And then Varane and obviously
going there as well.
There's been a few clubs.
City are quiet. City are quiet.
I know they're sort of pouncing. You do.
Spurs are making strange signings all over the place now, but not particularly big money.
Your best man, Galini.
I told you. I said. Don't get many things right, but I did say Galini would turn into a good goalkeeper. I don't think he'll play at Spurs, though. I think he'll be back up to Lloris.
Would he not start at Lloris?
I think so. He has played for Italy, Galini, over the last few years, and he's been played Champions League for Atlanta as well. Atalanta, sorry.
I just think looking at the teams and the setup, I honestly just think if we can just position ourselves, if we can, honestly.
I know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
You know me, I'm not exactly, I've been through the mill as you have, a lot of our viewers have with Aston Villa, obviously that sort of younger generation have obviously they've witnessed the championship, etc. But then they would have seen the good times when we got promoted. But I honestly have never been as confident of the club. I just think everything about us is just, honestly, it's just
classic.
It's just class, man. It's top notch. The facilities are just another level. The way we're doing our business is just, we've got a plan. We know what we want to do. We're not, we're doing our own thing. We are owned by, I would love to hear a bit more from Edens and Suarez, but that's just obviously
it's not their style, is it?
It's just not their style, if they keep on doing what they're doing and don't give many interviews, then that's absolutely fine by me. But I just think we're just in a great position, and if you're a young footballer like Bailey and Villa come knocking, you're gonna want to you're gonna want to move there, because I think we're one of the most exciting clubs in the country, and it's just so to have our club back. Yeah, completely, man, completely. And it's been 10 years of turmoil, but things are looking great.
Yeah, I'm not sure too many clubs can actually say that they're on the up at the moment. Like we kind of got the feel good and the momentum, that it feels like the traction.
Leicester, I think Leicester have come back. I think Leicester
they have, but they've also let themselves down 2 seasons running by not getting the Champions League, because they really should have done.
But
it's a scary team.
I'd be delighted if we missed out in top 4 2 seasons in a row, because it's a great,
but once you foundation. Once you get so close, you want. Look how close we were that time. You've got to take it when the chance.
Then it starts. Yeah, if you miss your chance twice, then players start to look around and go,
"Well, never get a better chance than the last." To be fair, I was probably saying this time last year they'll never get a better chance, and then they have an even better chance the year after, and the same thing happens again. So you just know, As I said, I'm not sure 100% on the interest in Leon Bailey. It sounds like there is some interest there, but I don't know.
Well, I heard yesterday from a very good source that it was going to happen, and then it broke today. Not from the source that I was told from.
There's obviously something in it.
So the fact that lots of people in the media have obviously said about it and then reported it, clearly seems to me that that there's real interest. But then you look at Rashika and that interest, and until they're holding the jersey in their hand, then you just have to wait and see, because these things can fall through quite quickly. But Yeah, he looks a player, mate. He looks a player, and if we can get a player of that caliber who've been, obviously chased by some big clubs, and he comes to us, then again, a great age, 23, perfect age.
High ceiling. I like to get players in with a high ceiling. He's still got levels to go up. I thought what you said about. I mean, I'm going right back to the start of the show now. I think what you said about Watkins is true. I think he's got another gear to go up this season. He looks a bit more physically ready. Not that he was ever not, but he looks a bit more physical this season. When I saw a picture of him the other day, he looked absolutely tonked. So
I'll call
he's obviously doing some work in the gym.
I can see him getting between 18 and 20 goals. This season, honestly.
Well, that's what you want to say. 14 last season, was it? You want to see him go?
How many goals had he chopped off from very close and very dubious VAR decisions?
The lines have been sorted out.
He could have easily. He could have easily hit 18, 19. So I can see him, and I think if we can keep Grealish and we have the likes of Buendia and Bailey and again these players that we brought in last season like Cash again go up another level. Sanson can come into his own. When we saw the progression of the team from season 1 was night and day, and if we can get anywhere close, I was actually working it out on the last day of the season when we beat Chelsea. If we can, because I think we'll be 20 points better off than we were last season.
It was along those lines
on the first season, and I was sort of working out if we're 20 points better off again this season based on
that's a big jump.
Then we're going to finish second. So I just think the progression is just like it's severe, and if we can finish, and I do think we left about 10 or 15 points out there last season. I do think we were unlucky. I think we missing Jack was unfortunate. The COVID outbreak was unfortunate. Thought we had some bad decisions go against us. So I think there's another 15 points in that in this squad to improve and really kick on, and 10 or 15 points actually is going to get us in those top 4, top 6 places, which is where we want to be. And again, like I'm super confident that I think we'll be in the Champions League in the next 3 seasons. Honestly, I really do. I just because these guys aren't going to mess about,
No.
But they're also not throwing money at it. They're not bringing in players that don't want to be there. It's everything about it's just right. It's right. Like they're doing it the right way, and they're not throwing. We're not bringing in mercenaries on 250 grand a week. That don't want to be there. Bringing in players that are hungry, that have real talent, and that really want to be there. And I think we're I think as I say, I think in 2-3 seasons, I think we'll be pushing those top 4 spots.
Yeah, 1 or 2 more quality additions this summer. Hopefully Jack staying as well, and I think we'll be set. We'll be in a very, very good place. It'll be exciting. There'll be plenty more shows coming up on the Villa View. I think we'll call it a day there, frankly, because I'm probably going to melt in this room. This big light shining on me. I don't think I've ever been so hot doing the Villa View in my life.
With open, so I've got a bit of fresh air.
Yeah. Good for you. No balconies here. So yeah, okay. I'm absolutely melting. So we'll call it a day. Thanks ever so much to Purity for continuing to sponsor us. 10% off at checkout if you use the code #VillaView.
I can send Purity my new address if
let them know. I'm sure they'll be buzzing to send you some stuff over. Let them know. We'll get that sorted. Yeah. Back soon. Good to be back on the Villa View again talking about Villa. We'll see you soon. Have a good rest of the evening. Take care.
Cheers.